Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute, huh? Yeah, I've had a lot of shit going on this year. I'm honestly ready for 2022 then. I'm pretty sure I said that in my last one, but I mean that now more than ever. So this was the beta weekend, and I know some of y'all, or most of y'all, have probably played the beta, but I'm on PC, and there's no way I'm giving them my money. Especially after how the last few games have been, there's no way I was giving them my money to pre-order it. And yeah, I know I could have canceled, but I'm too lazy to do that. And it was only one extra day for waiting on PC, so I got the beta and I played it. I played for about 6 hours. I was going to play until I was level 30, but I honestly just couldn't handle it anymore. And I'm not saying that the game is terrible, because I fully believe that there's a really good game underneath all of the problems that this game has, and I think that's where most people's frustrations online are coming from, but I'll get into that more. So I'm gonna do this as a pros and cons, and then I'm gonna show the dev responses to it, and then I'm gonna give off my suggestions that would possibly make this game phenomenal for everyone, hopefully. So I don't want this to be completely negative, and I don't want it to be overly positive, because I'm not trying to suck Joe Seesaw off, not at all in any way. As far as that I'm concerned, he's done worse for this franchise than good. The pros I have for the game: the graphics are phenomenal. When I booted this up, I honestly thought it was gonna look identical to Modern Warfare 19, but to my surprise, there was a lot more color, a lot more vegetation. It just didn't feel gray and, oh, I'm fighting in another warehouse. Like, you have a museum, you have this farm map where there's a bunch of overgrowth around, and there's a market with graffiti on the walls and tiles that are all these colors, and it looks phenomenal. I really love the art direction that they took for the base game. Now, when they add microtransactions, we'll see how that feels later on. But for right now, it looks phenomenal, and they did such a great job with that. And on to the next thing, the sound design. Oh man, the sounds are awesome. Except for one thing, and we'll get to that later, so hold your horses there. But the sound design from the guns, the character voices, the atmosphere itself, you can hear birds and stuff on some of the maps. The stun grenade sounds amazing. It sounds so realistic, and I love that. That is what made me fall in love with Call of Duty. It was this realism mixed with this video game. And now that we have all this advanced technology to capture all this realistic stuff, I love the sound design that they went with this game, and I honestly prefer it over Treyarch's base heavy approach that they usually take. I think you guys might be noticing a pattern with the pros about this game. The next thing here, the animations. I honestly didn't expect the beta to have weapon inspects, because I don't think they really have in the past. I don't know about Vanguard. I never touched Vanguard, but when I first loaded into the game, that was one of the first things I did, and oh my god, take a look at the shotgun inspection. Look at that, man. That is awesome. Please, more of this, dude. I did get killed by this person, but I noticed that when this character was shooting at me, they were showing their teeth. Like, they were struggling with controlling their weapon. That is an awesome little detail, and I love to see little details like that in games. It just adds to the immersion. And another thing that adds to the immersion that I really like is the music. Now, yes, some of the tracks in here are reused by Modern Warfare 19, and that's okay to me, because this is a sequel after all. I mean, it'd be like criticizing Star Wars for not using Star Wars music. So I don't have an issue with that, and it feels like a Sicario game, which, if you haven't seen Sicario, great movie. Second one, it's a little over the top, but still pretty good. Go watch them if you haven't. Anyways, back to the game. The atmosphere. Now this kind of goes with the graphics and the sound design, but it's everything kind of just combined in the one here. The atmosphere is great. I do have an exception with this. The skin with the weird ass helmet. Like, here, I'll put him up right here. Like, what is this, man? What is this skin, dude? Like, I already see it coming with the store in this game, and they have a store tab already in the beta. You and I both know they're going to add anime bundles. But at the moment, right now, I love it for the most part, and it's great. I love it. The maps have a great atmosphere to them. They feel different from one another. That was another big criticism I had in Modern Warfare 19. It just felt like you're fighting in warehouse after warehouse. This game, the environment variety is really there, and I really do appreciate that. And last but not least, what I love about this game is the gunplay. The gunplay is phenomenal. The time to kill feels really good. It could be a little bit slower for me, but it still feels very satisfying when you get a kill. The guns feel really good and heavy. Like, you actually feel like you're holding a weapon, not like a Nerf gun or anything. And I really do like that. It takes time to master a new gun. When you get it at first, you're like, oh man, this sucks. But once you get kind of used to it, you're like, okay. And I really like that. It reminds me a lot of the older games here. And I feel like we kind of lost that in Modern Warfare 19 because they were just like, oh, well, you have the gunsmith here. You don't like your gun, make a new one. And here, it actually feels really good. Like, they have characteristics to them, and it feels like you're using a weapon brand rather than just a weapon itself. So that's it for the pros. Unfortunately, I was really hoping that there would be more here, especially when I get into the cons. You'll notice a pattern here about Modern Warfare 19 having most of these same issues, with the exception of a few. Yeah, I was just really hoping that I would have more pros here, because believe it or not, I love Call of Duty. I've been playing Call of Duty since I was 10 years old. I started at the end of Modern Warfare 2's life cycle, and I really got into it with Black Ops 1, and I've loved it ever since. But these past few years, it's just been so disappointing seeing where this is going, and I'll get into that when I get into my cons. So here we go, the cons. This that I'm going to complain about is something that, if it's good, you won't hear anyone compliment it. If it's terrible, you will hear about it until the end of time, basically. And this is the user interface. Oh my god, what happened here, man? So, when I first booted up the game, I didn't want to play these new game modes that were in the game. I just wanted to play TDM to get a feel for the game. I think that's a reasonable thing to do. For the life of me, I did not know how to get the TDM. I didn't. I ended up playing this mode called Invasion, which is like Battlefield Conquest, but without the flags and bots. It was so weird. And then after the match, I was like, okay, I'm not playing that again. I did not like this mode. And next thing I know, there's quick play there with TDM in it. And I'm like, why wasn't this menu there when I first booted up the game? And that's just for finding a lobby. Now, let's talk about the progression and the gunsmith and all that menu. What the fuck were y'all thinking, man? Honestly, what the fuck were y'all thinking? So, I went in and I got my creative class unlocked, and I noticed that I unlocked the M4 at first, which I'm sure if all of y'all have played, you unlocked the M4 first as well. And you're like, wait, this is the second gun in the row. How do I unlock this first gun? Well, there's nothing that tells you how to unlock this gun, okay? Not on that screen. It just says locked. And you're like, well, how the fuck do I unlock this? Like, what level do I have to be, right? And then you go to progression, and you're just like, okay, I don't see the gun on there. So it's like, whatever, okay, I'll just use the M4. And So you go to the M4 and you're like, okay, okay, okay. You go to the M4 and all the attachments are locked and you're like, okay, well, it says weapon level this to unlock a grip, weapon level that to unlock a sight, yada yada yada. And I'm like, okay, so I play a few games, I get the weapon level, and I get this, and I'm like, how the fuck do I unlock more guns, man? I eventually unlocked the 74U, which is because it's separate from the M4 platform. So I was able to unlock that with my normal character level. But in order to unlock weapons on the same platform as the M4, you have to go to the gunsmith, and then at the top of the screen, go to where it says progression, and then it shows you how you unlock these different weapons in the game. And I guess it's like that for the other platforms within the game, which is honestly kind of cool if you think about it. And once you understand it, like, I get where they're going with it, but the execution with the user interface is god awful, man. It's so confusing, and it's honestly so frustrating to try to figure it out. I was playing with my brother, and I had to walk him through how to figure out how to unlock his next weapons. It's that bad. It really is. And whoever they hired for the user interface here, they need to go somewhere else. They need to design Fire Stick TV or something, because that's honestly what this feels like to me. It's terrible. Alright, that's the first con. The next con is once you get into a game and you get your class figured out and everything, this is the perk system. Now, why did they change the perk system? I have never heard anyone complain about the perk system, probably since Ghosts, which is the last time they really changed it, right? So basically how the perk system works, you get 2 perks at the beginning of the match, right? And then you get your 3rd one later in the game, and then your 4th one later after that in the game. Why? I don't know. I really don't. It's so annoying. It just feels like a pointless feature, to be honest, and it's just annoying. And I came into a case where one of my games, I'll put it on the screen now, I got my 4th perk, and this was a TDM game, and the enemy team was at 72 kills. The game ends at 75. Sorry, you hear my dog. Yeah, my dog's barking. The game ends at 75 kills, dude. And I got my 4th perk while the enemies were at 72. Just give me my perks, man. That's all I want. And the weirdest one here is Hardline. Hardline is in the 4th perk slot. So why would I get Hardline at the end of the game? When Hardline is supposed to help me get my streaks faster. It doesn't make sense, and it doesn't really seem that thought out. It just seems like they wanted to change this because they wanted to change it. And onto some specific perks that I've noticed on. I'll put this in the gameplay as well right now. Last stand, what the hell?
How's the aim assist in this game?
Bro, there's actually hella recoil.
Really?
Final stand is broken. From my understanding, you get unlimited lives, and it's not on a timer when you revive yourself. So in older games, you would go down, and then you would have to wait like 5 to 7 seconds before you can get back on your feet. Well, it's kind of like that in this game, but you can revive yourself, and you can do this an unlimited number of times. From what I think I did it 3 times in this life that I'm showing you here. And you'll see these 2 guys right here did not expect me to get back up. So, yeah, it was crazy. So, they, honestly, in my opinion, Final Stand doesn't belong in Call of Duty, especially when you can respawn instantly. It just doesn't belong. And that's it for the perks. I don't know what they were thinking. I get maybe they wanted to change it just to spice things up. I don't know. So, yeah, the next con I have in the game are the footsteps. You sound like a herd of elephants, and I don't know if this was to sound realistic. Honestly, when I hear people run in real life, they don't sound like this, dude. They don't sound loud like this. Here's a clip of me being a sound horde.
We've secured the lead.
How the fuck did you know where I was at, huh? Oh,
We got movement
that's right,
in
I
this
have
area.
elephant feet. With this guy, I was below, he was up top, and he heard me running and was just waiting for me. And as time went on, I have another clip here. I started to slow myself down as I played the game, and I honestly thought I would never do that while playing Call of Duty. I've always been a rusher. That's just been me. So in this clip, you will see me walking, right? Listen to how loud my footsteps are on this kill cam that I'm in. It's crazy. The footsteps need to be toned down like 5 decibels or something. They're ridiculous. So go ahead, watch that, tell me what you think, and we'll get on to the next one.
We have lost Bravo. Secure the Alpha.
What the hell? No way, dude.
It flicked on me hard.
Dude, I wasn't even sprinting and my footsteps sound insane. Alright, the next con here, and back to them changing shit that no one complained about before, the minimap. And this was one of my biggest complaints of Modern Warfare 19 right here. No red dots pop up on the minimap when the enemy shoots. Now, here's the retarded thing about this, right? There's decoy grenades in the game, and guess what? When you throw a decoy grenade in the game, a red dot pops up on the minimap. Yeah, that's confusing, huh? Also with this minimap, what's the point of having a counter UAV in the game? And also, what's the point of having suppressors in the game? Suppressors look dope, okay? I love me a gun with a suppressor on it. But the functionality in Call of Duty has always been suppressors keep you off the radar, counter UAVs, make it to where you can't see the red dots on the minimap so you can play a little bit more stealthy or a little bit more confident while the inner team is blind, essentially, right? You can't do that in this game. Everyone's already playing like that. And what's the point of a counter UAV? I don't know, man. Now, here's a big one for me. The lobby's disbanding. And I'm going to tie skill-based matchmaking into this because I feel like these two things go hand in hand. This is something that I've been wanting to change since 2019, and we have yet to see any of this change. At least in Cold War when they did this, you could still vote on maps, but even though most of the time you would just join a lobby midway through, and that's what happens to me in this game. And going back to the perks, it's really frustrating when you join a lobby mid-game and you only have 2 perks and everyone else has their 3 or 4. I don't understand this, and I think it's completely for skill-based matchmaking reasons, which I honestly despise because you can't get better at the game with this. Like, you do good and you're like, okay, my next match, here we go, I'm gonna get shit on. Or you do terrible and you just cross your fingers that, okay, well, oh man, hopefully this next game's gonna be good. Like, I feel like I'm playing roulette rather than feeling me get better at COD, if that makes sense. And here's my rant about skill-based matchmaking and why it doesn't belong in Call of Duty. So, what has made Call of Duty stand out and what made it get so big is the kill streaks and score streaks. Well, how do you get kill streaks and score streaks, right? You go on a kill streak. Well, with skill-based matchmaking, if everyone is playing at the same level, it makes this so much harder to do. Rather than back in the day, you had a variety of players in one lobby. I think that's where most people's frustration of skill-based matchmaking comes from, whether they realize that aspect of it or not, but getting kill streaks has always been the staple thing to do within the series. And now I don't think I got anything higher than the 8 kill streak in this beta. Also, going 19 and 14 isn't fun every match. I would like to go 30 and 9 every now and then, like I used to be able to. I can't do that anymore. I feel like I'm competing in a free tournament, and it's frustrating. I would rather play Halo Infinite and be bored out of my mind playing the same 6 maps for 8 hours straight than play this beta, which arguably has more content in it than Halo Infinite. But this game just pisses me off so much that I can't do it. Alright, the maps. Now, everyone talks about the maps in Call of Duty, and I shall talk about the maps here, man. So, the maps are meh. And the hotel and the museum maps are dog shit, dude. They are terrible. At this point, when I'm in the beta, if I see those 2 maps before I join a gaming session, I back out instantly. I can't stand those 2 maps. There's too many angles on them, especially on a hotel map. You have no clue where you're getting shot from. The other 2 maps, which I think is the farm maps and some kind of market map, I forgot what it's called. They're actually pretty decent, but they're nothing super special. And one of the things I liked about those maps were how I looked. Like I said back earlier in the video, they have a really good atmosphere to them, but they're nothing special. The B flag on the market is kind of annoying though, especially with how the spawns are. But it's Call of Duty. I'm used to bad spawns at this point. And this one isn't really a con about the game, but the player base, man. This new player base, like, if you're 15, 16 years old and you just started playing COD like 3-4 years ago, this is you, okay? So listen up. Everyone seems to be playing like their lives are on the line, and like scouts for CDL are watching every single match. It is so dumb, and the jump shotting needs to stop. The movement exploits need to stop. When I was playing COD back in the day, no one did this. You would have the drop shotting every now and then, and I'm guilty of the drop shotting too, but it was nothing that we did every single gunfight. It needs to stop, man. Just relax, play the game, stop calling out in a beta. Don't say I'm in mid when I kill you. It's a beta. Chill out. Stats don't matter. Wins don't matter. Don't yell at your teammates for not playing the objective, because guess what? This isn't ranked, dude, okay? I'm just trying to play the game and have fun, but I can't do that anymore because of you guys. I can't, man. Alright, that's it for my rant, and that's it for the cons of the game. So, what did the devs have to say about all this? Because most of this stuff, I'm not the only one complaining about it. A lot of people complained about it during the PlayStation exclusive weekend, and the devs responded. So let's take a look at what the devs had to say. Alright, I'm gonna get into the most infuriating part of this, so I'll put it up on the screen here. The minimap dot rules, that's what they're calling it. So they said, currently in the Modern Warfare 2 beta, we only show enemy player dots when a UAV is active. The design reason for this is that we do not want to punish players for firing their weapons. We also want players to actively search out the origin of a gunshot versus just traveling directly to where the dot is on the minimap. We continue to gather feedback on how the game is playing in regards to this topic. Oh man. Where do I begin? They don't want to punish players for firing their weapon. Well, guess what, retards? This is the whole fucking point of the game, dude. It's Call of Duty. It's a shooter game. It's a first-person shooter. They want players to search out the origin of a gunshot rather than just traveling directly to where the dot is on the minimap. Well, they do that anyways. Because guess what? Where the red dot is at, that's where the gunshot's at. Oh, interesting, right? And if you are a player that doesn't want to be showing up on the minimap when you shoot, guess what? There's suppressors. Whoa. What a 10-year-old idea this is. That's crazy, right? These devs seem to be putting their feet firm on the ground when it comes to the minimap. Why? I don't know, because at the end of the day, we are the customers and they're the devs, and they're the ones who asked for feedback, and we gave them feedback, and now they're just doubling down on their decision. Why even ask us for feedback? Why even give us a beta? Now, here's what they said about the perks. Now, the perks, what they said here is crazy. Alright, so they said perks. We've seen varied feedback on the perk system. Some players love it, and others feel it's an unnecessary departure from the original system. Yes, it is. We feel it's a nice shake-up to how perks work and to the general progression of a match. We've also balanced the ultimate perks to be more powerful as you earn them later in the match. We'll continue testing throughout Beta Weekend 2, including drastically accelerating the earn rate of these to see how players react. Our goal remains improving the flow of all perks ahead of launch. Yeah, they didn't accelerate them because I got my 4th perk at 72 kills in a TDM game. Game ends at 75. I don't need to say anymore. And what they said, we feel it's a nice shake-up to how perks work. So it just seems like they did this just to, yeah, we're gonna shake things up, alright? Why? I get you wanted to shake things up, but if you wanted to shake things up, maybe attempt the ghost perk system again? Think that would have been better than this? Have a perk class and a create class separate from one another, maybe? Yeah, the ideas are just flowing. Alright, so now on to Dead Silence. Yes, let's see what they have to say about this. Dead Silence is another hot topic, as many players have expressed that they would like to see it as a perk instead of a field upgrade. We believe it's important to game health that rushers are not able to move at high speeds without consequence. Dead Silence as a field upgrade creates a balance between freedom and movement and predictability of combat. Wow. Okay. That's a crazy sentence about the rushers. Rushers are not able to move at high speeds without consequence. Well, congrats guys, you accomplished that in this game. Jeez. Why even work for Activision? Just make your own first-person shooter, dude. Don't ruin this franchise that's basically the McDonald's of gaming. That would be like if fucking Burger King employees took over McDonald's and said, hey, we're making flame broiled burgers now, enjoy guys. And it's like, what? I want my fucking $1 McDouble back. Give me that shit, man. It's the same thing here, dude. Okay. As for the rest of the stuff, they, like the UI, they said they're gonna make necessary adjustments in order to improve it. So, in about 3 weeks, let's see what they can pull out of their ass to do that. I think just having not as many menus within a menu would help. Really, just give us more information at the front end of it. Alright, so for disbanding lobbies, this tweet right here actually shocked me. And I'm in the boat of I'll believe it when I see it. So they said, we've heard a lot of you on disbanding lobbies. We're working on a few tweaks to increase the chance of lobbies staying together and improving the UI when it happens. What that exactly means, I don't know, but just make it to where we can stay in the lobby, and if we don't like it, we can leave instead of forcing us to leave. It's like, it's not that complicated, but W tweet, like I said, I'll see it when I believe it. And yeah, that's basically what the devs have said, and they're still trying to tweak the perk rates and stuff. I think I just saw a tweet right now about them accelerating the perk rate, which goes to my point of just giving us all the perks at the beginning.
And you are?
I'm the guy. The real guy.
Anyways, I have some suggestions to make in order to make the game more fun and enjoyable. And who knows if I'm right or wrong on these? I don't know, because on paper things can sound good, and in execution they can actually be terrible. For example, I think this perk system in their meetings probably sounded good, and in execution it's terrible. Same goes with the minimap. But here's my suggestions. Okay, so for the user interface, right? Just give us what Black Ops 3 had. It looked great, it was easy to understand, and it worked well. I don't know why this has to be switched up every year, but it needs to stop. Just, if you're Treyarch, stick with one UI. If you're Infinity Ward, stick with one. If you're Sledgehammer, stick with one. Keep it that way. Make it your identity. That's my suggestion for the UI. Now for the perk system. Back to my point. No one complained about this, but honestly, give us a pick 10 back, man. That, or make a perk class setup and a gun class setup separate from one another, and let us mix and match stuff. But honestly, for me, at the end of the day, I would rather just have pick 10 come back. Pick 10 would suit everyone's need. If you want to be more gun focused, put 5 attachments on your gun, but you'll have to sacrifice perks. If you don't need that many attachments on your weapon, well, go for a perk. Oh, you don't like switching to your pistol? Well, don't have a pistol. You know, get an extra shock charge or something. All the possibilities are there with a pick 10. Pick 10 was perfect. Why did we go away from pick 10? Who knows? For the footsteps, just make them quieter. And if you don't want to have dead silence as a perk, fine. But the default sounds of the footsteps need to be quieter. And dead silence doesn't have to be completely dead silent. It was never completely dead silent in the old games. Like, if you listen, you can still hear it. But now it's, you can't hear shit. So that's my suggestion for the footsteps. Now for the skill-based matchmaking in the lobbies, disbanding, this one's easy. Just get rid of it. I don't mind skill-based matchmaking. I mean, most Call of Duty games I've played have had skill-based matchmaking. I think it's more of the lobbies disbanding that makes it feel way worse now than it did back in the past. So just don't have the lobbies disband, maybe? I don't know. Does that sound too easy for you devs? Lastly, the player base. This was the last complaint I had in the cons section. I think this mainly comes from the movement and the gunplay within the game that makes this so noticeable. So my suggestion here, especially with the jump shotting, is to maybe have the sprinting be a little bit faster, but make a out of breath mechanic like in old school games. Give us an old school minimap, tone down the footsteps, give us the out of breath mechanic. This would make the game feel old school and a whole lot better. It would also still feel fresh with the new animations, sounds, and gunplay. And I think it would just make the balance so perfect if you would give us an out of breath mechanic, have a sprint just a tad bit faster, and give us a normal minimap with a pick 10 system. If this game had those three things, even with the skill based matchmaking and the disbanding lobbies, it would honestly be a top 5 COD for me. I'm not even capping about that. So there's a good game underneath all of this. It just seems like the decisions that are being made by the devs, it's like they want to make their own game for them rather than for the fans. And I don't think some of them are fans of the franchise to begin with, but that's completely speculation on my end. But if you're someone who only cares about graphics and gunplay, music, atmosphere, and all that, and you don't mind having to sweat and try hard every single match, you will like this game. And I respect you, and I'm jealous of you because I wish I can be like that. Like I said, I've grown up on this franchise, and I'm just so disappointed at where it's at right now. And if you can handle this and you enjoy it, I respect you. But yeah, alright, if you've made it to the end of this video, I just want to say thank you so much for your time and for listening. And hopefully, if you were on the fence about this game, maybe I convinced you that maybe you will like it or maybe you won't like it. I don't know. At the end of the day, my opinion is only my opinion, and if you disagree with it, that's totally cool, bro. I don't really care, to be frank. But yeah, I just wanted to say I really appreciate you, and if you enjoyed it and you want to see more, please hit subscribe, please comment, please share, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.